God, how do I feel about having my tattoos covered up or removed? Well, it depends on what year you got me. I just started wearing glasses last year, so I feel like everybody from last year back.
It depends on what era of my life this happened in. So, yeah, because like in the beginning era of like your tattoos, you can't really blame somebody if they just.
I think, yeah, they should do that.
They should. Let's get rid of all the work before a certain part of my career.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started out, there's tattoos and clients that I've tattooed, and I look at that and I'm like, can I redo that? And they're like, oh no, Crystal, I love it. I'm like, no, you don't.
My old work, it's almost like a breath of fresh air, you know? It's like tattooing has evolved so much in 20 years, so it's like, you know, you see your work that's 15 years old and it's just like, oh, I didn't use certain groupings back then, so it's not as dark, it's not as tight.
To be honest with you, it's like if it's that bad, then, you know, they should be getting it, you know, removed. And luckily, I think most of that stuff was maybe 20 years ago, you know, when I first started, and luckily nowadays I don't have as much of that going on.
I don't really care that much. I mean, there's a reason it got covered. It probably sucked, so that's fine.
I know I sacrificed a lot of my skin just to learn how to tattoo, and now I'm gonna get a ton of laser work. You know, no disrespect to the guy that was tattooing me at that time, but like now there's a bigger picture at hand. It's just like, damn, man, I could get good work. Yeah, so let's, may you go in peace, but you're gonna go now and we're gonna do something dope over it.
When you do a tattoo like 3 years ago, and you do it 3 years later, another tattoo, and it's next to that piece, you're 3 years better. So you then start looking at your old stuff thinking, man, did I really do that? But it's still good, but it's not where you're at today, you know? So you always think to yourself, God, I'm gonna get that customer back in and just give it a once over.
Now the new tattoos, there's no way they're gonna get it removed because they're not gonna want to. Mine or hers.
For me, it's tragic. If I'm proud of the work, they tell me it just makes me sad. That's it, because you put a lot of work into it, a lot of passion.
I can't say I wouldn't take it personally, but at the same time, like I understand, I've gotten stuff from people and not really been pleased with it. I do know that, you know, when I moved out of my hometown, people finished some things of mine, which definitely made me upset. If you don't have the patience to wait on me, then I don't really think I want you as a client anyways.
If it was an extensive tattoo, this is the 4th session, and it's this decked out back piece, and you just put your all into it, and then you come across that person or you see something online and it's being covered, I think I'd be on a massive headhunt. Maybe.
What I hate the most too is like you got Steve, who's an amazing artist, you know what I'm saying? And he does something and a client don't like it. Another artist, instead of picking up the phone and being like, yo, Steve, I got this client, boom, 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 boom. You got artists that cut up, be like, yeah, I covered Steve shit, or I covered Pooch's shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be ready to fuck somebody up. Like, I'm sorry, man. That shit makes me so mad, dude. Like, how you trying to get clout or for covering up something that's not even bad? He's famous, so let me go ahead and out of here, man. Eat a dick, dude.
Josh covered a Nico Hurtado piece, and Nico wasn't mad about it, but people railed him
for doing
it. And they're like, there was threats made. I'm gonna kick your ass when I. Who the
are you?
Guy in Minnesota.
I get upset if it's like for the reasoning. Like, I mean, if it's like something, if they don't like the tattoo, that would upset me. But like, if it's like just because like they broke up with their ex and they don't like the name anymore, them, I don't care.
I don't care. You know, they paid for it. As soon as they pay me, it belongs to them. And if they don't pay me, it's mine. But once they leave, they can do whatever they want with their shit. I already got paid. I'm good.
Good point. I plan on lasering all his tattoos, so.
If it's something, because I do a lot of kind of really graphic horror stuff and things I can understand maybe people will grow past. It could be just a little bit of a trend in their life and then they're like, you know what, I don't want a scary, you know, vampire girl like right here for my kids to see every day or something. So I've seen that happen, and I've covered up my own work or changed it to less scary, you know, imagery.
I mean, it's their skin, like it's their choice. whatever is gonna make them happy.
You don't take it personal?
No, hell no.
I don't think I would be upset. I mean, I think some people are, but once you get the tattoo, it's yours. I mean, it's my art, but it's on your body. I can't be mad about that.
Museums cycle their artwork on the walls, so
Right.
who am I to say that my client can't do the same thing?
It's not on my body. So if my client wants to get it removed or changed, it's on their body. I want them to be happy with whatever they get. And I know there are people that they're more like hair with their tattoos, where some people like changing their hair color every month regardless of what it does to the hair. People can be the same way with tattoos, where they just keep lasering and redoing, but that's their choice. And I'll cover my own designs too if they pay me.
People change, you know, tattoos age. I did this real beautiful Christy Mack tattoo. It's actually from a photo shoot Ink magazine did. And the tattoo's beautiful. It's like one of my favorite tattoos. But the guy wants a complete Japanese bodysuit. And so I seen him in London and he was like, look, here's your chance to get the last photos of this tattoo because I'm getting a full Japanese bodysuit over this. And I totally respect it. You know, people can do what they want with their bodies. It's their tattoos. You know, I don't really take it that personal, you know. Do whatever you want, man. It's your body.
Even if I've made them happy for a 5-year period and then they decide to put something bigger over it, as long as that bigger piece makes them happier than my one does, I'm all for it.
And now that I'm very into street art, I've been doing a lot of street art, I know that painting doesn't belong to me anymore. And even before I finish a mural, I have these kids who go there and graffiti my painting. I need to go back the next day and fix it again. For example, I'll be painting our basil. I know next year is gonna be covered, and no matter what. So the clock is going for a year. So I know it's gonna be covered. And that makes you very thinking about you are not that important.
I don't think there has been any tattoo that I've done that I felt like it belonged to me, so to say. I feel like it belongs to them as soon as I apply it on them. And whatever happens to that tattoo, I'll still have the memory of creating it. I'll still have the picture of creating it. But from that on, the tattoo continues to live its own life.
The main thing with the artists, and we talk about this all the time, is falling in love with the process instead of the outcome. So I have fun creating. That's the best part. And then once it leaves, it's cool, I got my picture. I'm cool with that. That was the best part of my day.
You learn to let go of your tattoos anyways. Once you finish that piece, especially with a lot of clients traveling, you don't get to see them again, you know? And sometimes they never finish a project, or sometimes the clients can't come back, or you die, whatever it is. We just learn to just do the piece in that moment, do the best we can, and, you know, wish them luck on their journey with that tattoo.
It's like your kids, you know? You have a baby, and then later on, it's from the world, not from you. Yeah, you're gonna grow up, you know, you can do whatever they want.
The way I see tattooing is it's for my life because it lives in somebody. It's only gonna be here for their time. It's never gonna look the same as when they're alive. It's gonna become like a piece of leather if they ever did remove it. My oil paintings and things like this that I do outside of tattooing is for my death. And so I see that as what I leave here, you know, my children that I put on canvas or whatever, or on wood. So that's for my death. So I see it completely different. Tattooing's for my life. It gives me money now to live. It gives me opportunity. It's for today. And paintings are just for when I'm gone and what I can leave behind.
I don't know. I don't feel too bad about it. The earlier stuff, I get it, man. That's all, you know, a lot of those clients we don't want to see anyways, right? My first couple of years. And I've had tattoos covered up by some of the guys around town and whatnot. But I've covered up some of their stuff too, so it doesn't bother me at all, man.
I did a portrait on this dude. His name is Greg, and if he watches this, he'll know exactly. Greg, you know. But anyway, I did a portrait of his grandma or his mom, like an old vintage photo on his hand. It was really, really, really beautiful. Came out super nice. It healed so great. But I suppose within this kind of 6-month period, Greg started tattooing on his own, or whatever the case may be. And he ended up blasting it over himself in black, which made absolutely no sense. And then later on came by the shop and was just shooting the shit. And I was like, let me see your hand. And he was like, oh man, I blasted over it because all my customers wanted to see you instead, and it was pissing me off. What a bummer, right?
That's first like humble brag. Yeah. I thought you were gonna say his grandma came back to life or something, and he didn't need the memory of her.
Oh, that would have been something.